Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Homeward Bound. I believe this is the first time we get to use our combat music in a while. So,
I had plenty of combat last episode.
I guess you did.
Okay, so something grabs my leg.
Yeah. Let's roll initiative, and then we'll talk about it more.
Oh. Okay, well, I win.
Narratively makes sense.
All right. William, you're the first to act. You feel something grab at your leg, but when you look, you see nothing, but you can feel the pressure around your shin and calf as something holds on to you, and the floor in front of you, the forest floor, dips down about like a 30-degree decline, but you feel yourself being tugged heavily in that direction. At the start of your round, I will need you to make me a dexterity check, Mr. Stonefeet.
You're so full of shit with the dexterity. I swear to God, I check dexterity like 5 times more than anything else in this campaign.
There has been a lot of like nimble climbing and scaling around things.
I'm not interested in it.
I'm so sorry, William.
Nice roll.
Thank you.
All right. Your feet maintain your heavy feet maintain your mass. You do not get pulled down, but there is something on your leg and then a full separate like draw towards this decline in the ground.
Okay. So if something's grabbing my leg, I want to swing my sword in such a way that I'd sever its arm if I could see it.
Yeah, make me an attack roll at -4 because you can't exactly see, but you know where it is.
Oh, -4, okay.
Yeah.
I'll just roll plus 17 then. 21.
Do you have a plus 20? What do you fucking do, man? Oh, God. Yeah, you hit the shit out of it. Yeah.
Is it a crit?
4. It's not a crit, but you hit it.
Okay. Just hope it's got a lot of health. 22 damage.
This is ridiculous. Alright, let me roll some dice here. 22 damage. Not dealing with Grimes anymore, are we?
Yeah, right.
Though.
Oh.
It lives. You can feel the thing on your leg wobble for a moment, but the grasp does not loosen, nor does it let go.
Is it still invisible? Dude.
I'm sorry, I missed that. I had to go shut the door.
Is it still invisible? Do I see blood splatter or like...
So you haven't quite come around the corner yet. But it is your initiative right now, so take it.
Well, so I shout out, Grimes, there's something grabbing my leg.
I'm like 10 feet behind him. I come around.
There was like a like the trail went hard right, and it was just as he went around the corner, and you're like right here. So you're, essentially all you got to do is take a couple steps forward, and you'll be able to see what's going on.
It's a forest, isn't it? Just at most there's like a tree.
Yeah, it's a thick forest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyways,
you're also on the shadow plane. Things aren't always what they seem. Yeah.
Yeah. So I step around and see.
What you see is the path trying to close before you, like the trees are leaning in, the undergrowth is leaning in and trying to block off the path. You can still see a spot between it. And William is a little bit more forward than you thought he might have been.
Is anything grabbing William?
You can see there's this like dip in the forest that William is being drawn towards. There is a pit here in the ground, and William is sort of unstable and slashing at the ground at his feet. You don't see anything holding him.
Okay, well, I guess I'll assume it's there, or maybe attack the forest. I will step in front of William, I think drawing 2 phase daggers, because I'm hoping that their spirit blades will be more effective against a spiritual force, such as a creepy forest. So I don't want to shove William over, but I put myself in front of William and slash out before me.
Yeah, it should be not a big problem for you to slip between the trees before they close. I'll just need an easy DC 21 Dex check.
Is that
as the forest is
okay? If this is
actively...
between me and William, I guess I'll.
It's between you and the woods, because the woods are trying to close off the path. It seems very intentional.
Maybe I jump off the tree and leap over William in front of him, slashing before me.
Dumb.
Right, you find yourself
kick off a tree, tumble before him, and slash out. I don't know if there's an invisible creature there, or if are there trees closing in before us?
No, actually, there's trees sort of opening to the sides, while the trees at the end of this little wedge are like leaning and looming over and top. So opening on the side, closing on top, and pulling from underneath.
Okay, well, I'm not sure what's there, but I'm like slashing out before me with both spirit blades, trying to extend my spiritual shadow energy before to bust open this path. There's a 26 and a 15.
The 26 will crit.
And I have...
Have you included the -4, right?
Blind fighting.
Oh, nice.
I close my eyes and slash out before me. And as long as I'm targeting the right square, I think I can just... Yeah.
26,
so the 26 is a crit?
Yes. In fact, I think a 26 is going to double crit.
Does this thing take... Doesn't take double damage, but double crit, so it'll take 3d8 plus 3d6 plus 2. 28 damage.
Nice. Sort of appearing before you on the ground is this... I guess everything's in grayscale here, so there's no color to it. Is this long, goopy thing that sort of resembles like a forked snake's tongue, except instead of having like nice, well-defined edges, it's more of like a blob of brush, like a blob of wet pine needles and fallen leaves and berries and sticks that have all been like stuck and glued together that was not visible a moment ago.
Was it invisible, or was it just concealed with the forest floor?
It was definitely like invisible or phased or camouflaged. Like something appears where there was nothing a moment ago to your eyes. But you are now
closing around us.
You are now in this decline, and you feel like a gravity well before you, pulling you in. Not even having to touch you, but something is actively pulling you forward.
But the grip on my leg is gone.
The grip on your leg is gone. Grimes, can you make me a saving throw versus spell?
Was it not a... William rolled a dexterity check.
Yeah, that was for the thing on his leg. He wasn't close enough to be affected by the pit yet.
Fail.
Yes. You chop the thing off William's leg, and you find yourself being like sucked towards this hole. The
hole finds itself being sucked towards me.
Same. Whether you move or the world moves around you, don't you still just go from one place to another?
We'll see.
Yes.
I've got second action.
Oh,
Can I
that'll
try and
be...
grab Grimes?
You can do it after the something takes its turn.
Oh, it's still alive. Okay.
Yes, Grimes. Your saving throw versus spell has failed. And the earth begins to swallow you up, very similar to quicksand, but rather than being sandy, it's just like the earth there. And you find your legs being pulled down into the earth. By the end of this something's turn, you will be about thigh height. It'll pull you in about 2 feet, and I think 2 feet goes up to your thighs.
Sure.
Ish.
Okay.
Lower thigh.
So there's a decline and a gravity well kind of thing, but there's nothing actually to be seen. Just bending trees.
Yeah, just bending trees and a pit in the ground that is understandably pulling you towards it.
And the pit in the ground has Grimes in it currently.
Yes.
Okay. Can I, instead of a second attack, grab Grimes and try and pull him out of the pit?
Absolutely. I believe the two of you could grasp hands without needing to make a skill check for it. So just give me a strength check to pull.
I don't think I'm not. I've got swords in my hand. I think he's grabbing me by like my back, by the scruff of my neck.
Yeah, I think that's still fairly
out.
easy in this situation. I would feel weird asking him to make a roll to hit you, grab you.
Yes.
Yeah. So he can grab you by the back of your clothes, or by your armor, or by under your arms. One of these things. Which one is it, William?
Well, it's not under his arms because I've got a shield still. So I'll sheathe my sword, and then with my right hand, I grab him by the scruff of his neck and try and pull him back out.
All right. You grab him by the scruff of his neck and yoink him right on out. A 31. The two of you can pull back onto the path, catch a breather for a moment as the path has completely closed in behind you and is starting to close in front of you as well. And we will need an initiative roll for this round as well.
So the trees in front of us are starting to close.
Yes, sir.
If I put my shield away, that takes a whole action.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but I sheathe my rune blade. I'm going to draw my flame blade instead, so that's 0 initiative.
Okay. Excellent. William and Grimes go simultaneously.
Master or something? You're a high master.
It's because it's just a hilt, and because I'm Grandmaster between those two things. Yeah.
Okay.
So I step in front of Grimes and try and like cleave through the trees in front of us with the flame blade.
Give me a roll to hit.
$23.
That will hit again.
Does it do bonus damage to trees?
Just roll the regular damage. I'll take care of the other details. I don't want to.
It's not a crit. It's not a crit, right?
Much. No, it's not a crit.
24.
Ooh. Uh, 10, 24. Okay. 24 damage has been done to the trees, the path, whatever this is before you. The trees do not ignite, they do not alight, but you hack off branches with your flame sword. They fall completely uncharred with cuts too perfect to be performed by a sword in the middle of combat. And the path before you is cleared, but the trees are still closing. There's room to move through it now.
Well, I've moved through them.
Okay.
Grimes, come on. How far can I move? Like, can I make a full move action?
Yeah, you can do your full move action, totally.
Well, it's clear now ahead of me.
Yeah, the path continues.
I will spin, slashing out with my spirit blades as I follow William. So I think I'm going to make my attacks against this whatever pit that I just came out of.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if there's anything there to slash at, but I'll strike the square next to me.
You're slashing at the ground or the air?
Probably the ground. I think, and not letting the physical bit of dagger get into the quicksand or whatever, using like the spiritual extension of it.
Got it.
That makes sense.
Yep. The 10 strikes a little too close to your feet, not the actual part that you need to, but the 25 will sink into the earth in an uncomfortable way. There's like a hissing sound and a howl that starts at your feet and moves through your head.
Oops. That should actually be... I kind of want to just keep a 5. I don't want to reroll that. I'll take the nerf. Yeah. I do 11 damage to the ground with my offhand.
Okay.
Just a spin, slashing out at the ground as I follow after William. Maybe
I do believe a 25 will actually clear by 10. So roll me one more set of damage dice in there.
Roll these ones correctly. Might as well.
Good thing, too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that is 18 more points.
Top of the 28 last round? Whatever.
Yeah. nailing it.
Ooh, all right. It had 17 HP left. The
Perfect.
ground sort of rebounds and bounces back and levels off. The trees on either side of you immediately fade away, and in fact, the entire path and forest around you begins to just sort of slip. Some of it disappears like, shadows when light moves over it. Other bits of it recede into the ground. You're left with a thick forest, but not so much of a path anymore. More just a really thick forest that you'll have to hike your way through in a direction.
Did it get worse?
No, so the forest became less dense generically, but the path disappeared. So now you have to travel through dense forest, but it's traversable rather than being
The hell was
extremely
that?
difficult.
I mean, I think we probably just keep pushing through.
Yeah,
Right? I don't know that it's clear to us that we actually killed it. Or was it?
We should. Well, it's certainly changed a lot, right? But now that now the path's gone, we should consult the tuning fork to make sure we're going in the right direction still.
Sure. I will sheathe one of my spirit blades and draw out the tuning fork.
It continues to point in the same direction it did before.
All right,
Yeah.
we carry on.
Keep moving, as hopefully William just keeps pressing on, cutting our way with the flame sword if need be.
Yeah.
By the time you are fatigued and are looking for a spot to rest, you will actually break out of the woods to be atop a huge cliff plummeting 850 feet below to water. Across this gap, you will see an island on the other side of the water. I guess it's not an island, it's the other side of the canal. Thick with forests.
Right, sorry, Neal, can you turn the music down a little bit?
Yeah, sorry.
Thank you. This is it, Grimes. This is the Grand Canal. I'm sure of it.
I look off the edge. It's one hell of a cliff.
I point to the other side and say, that could be Drakus over there. Might be Mistrea, but it could be Drakus. We can't cross here, but there's definitely cities.
Mystery Drakus isn't on the other side of the canal, is it? I don't think. Does the canal border Drakus?
Yeah.
Depends on how good your geography is. Have you seen the old maps of the United States?
I don't even know if Grimes. Yeah. I don't know that Grimes knows anything of the Grand Canal, so he'd be surprised to hear that Drakus is on the other side.
Mm-hmm.
Trust me, Grimes. I studied this stuff in school.
All right. Well, that seems like tomorrow's problem.
I think there's.
Now let's get some rest.
Wait, can I see the tuning fork?
I hand it to you.
Okay, Neal, does it... I think we've either got to follow it up or down to a city where there's a crossing. Mm-hmm. So is it pointing more the way we're going and up a bit, or the way we're going and down a bit? If I had to choose one way to go. Along the edge of the canal.
Up? Why not say up?
Okay.
It's the sort of thing, like, you're on a cliff, right? And the cliff is not necessarily straight, or it might be, like, sort of straight for where you are right now. But as you go along the cliff, the angle it will be at will change. And so you're looking mostly across, but, like, if you take the flatness of the cliff as your point of tangent, it is slightly to the right. But if the cliff were to, like, angle itself maybe 5 degrees separately, then it would be straight on. Or if it were to angle itself 10 degrees differently, you'd be going to the left. So it's like right on that crux, and it's leaning ever so slightly to the right, but it could easily be, it could just be the angle of the cliff at this moment.
Yeah, well, that's good enough for me. All right. So we make camp, and in the morning, I will lead us right along the edge of the canal and hope to find a city.
Okay. Okay.
Can I get a scene that night, or some?
Absolutely.
Some questions. So Grimes is trying to feel the shadows. The one inside of him seems beyond his reach, but we're in the plane of shadow, are we not?
Yeah.
Aren't there shadows everywhere? And isn't hiding in shadows within a thieves' wheelhouse?
Classically, it is. Yes.
Mm-hmm. So I think that evening, as we're resting, or after we've bedded down for the night, Grimes is extending his awareness outwards to see if he can feel any sense any of the shadows around him, the shadows of the trees of the forest nearby, or maybe the shadows of the plains themselves.
All right, I want you to make me a wisdom check.
No.
I mean, this isn't the first time you've tried, and it's also not the first time that you failed.
Yeah,
you know
but
they're
in the
here.
past, it's been looking within. Now I'm looking without. One thing I do want to try is to pull out one spirit blade and then the other, which shifts me into the ethereal plane, into the shadow plane. I mean, I'm in the shadow plane, so I'm not sure where it's shifting me. But the thought here is that it will push me closer to the shadow. And I'll see if I can feel any closer to either the shadows within or without once I'm phased.
So
and then short of that, go ahead.
I probably should have. I guess I kind of forgot about this. Maybe you're only noticing it now, but I think your phasing is not what it used to be. Like, you can kind of feel yourself being pulled aside, but you won't necessarily see yourself as semi-transparent anymore. You'll still get that same notion of moving, but it's the visuals of it.
Does it still reduce damage? Like, mechanically, is it still the same?
I don't think it should anymore. I think I forgot to mention this, so I feel bad, like, nerfing you after the fact, but...
okay, Grimes is dead. It's fine. That damage from the demon battle just killed me.
Shit.
All right, it's been a fun campaign, guys.
Wait, hold on. Because the ethereal plane borders the material plane.
I mean, maybe it shifts
plane.
me 1 HP back into the...
Yeah, the ethereal plane doesn't work on the shadow plane. How does the ethereal plane mess with the shadow plane? Because the shadow plane is like a impression. Can you be pulled?
You're not inspiring confidence, Neal. This is your world. That's why I was asking you.
They're tough questions.
It's tough questions. We're like on the edge of reality. Guess it pulls you into the ethereal plane?
Maybe it pulls them into the prime material plane. Because since that's what's adjacent now.
If you want, we can roll with that failed willpower check, and you can think about this. Although I don't know how long you're gonna need to think about it. You may not have all week.
Well, clearly it has to reduce the damage because we've been dealing with it reducing the damage the entire time. So
do you not want it to reduce the damage in?
No, it probably should. I'm just struggling with the greater questions that probably don't even need to be answered right now.
I mean, it could be dispersing it outward. Like, even if it's all still within this plane, if it just spreads out your life essence enough to reduce the damage.
Oh, I like that. Okay, so perhaps instead of you just not being transparent, it's more of like a pull. Like, you see more like an after image of yourself kind of following your hand. There's like a length to it. So you move your hand, and then there's like a ghostly hand following you, like flickering after you.
I'm imagining, like, I don't know, Play-Doh or something goopy. You, like, if you're in the prime material plane or in one of the lower planes, it'll like push your life essence through to the shadow plane. But if you're already there, it just kind of just pushes you out and disperses your life essence enough that it still reduces damage.
Yeah, because I definitely want it to function slightly differently than on the prime materia. And I think this is a good way of doing it. Well done.
Okay.
Well done, Ryan. Well done.
Yeah. So anyway, with spirit blades in hand, I do want to see if that can get me any closer to the shadows around me. Either by sensing them, or if I can't sense them, by concealing myself inside of them, becoming one with the shadow, embracing the shadows around me or the shadow within myself, and see if I can just cloak myself in shadow and, I don't know, hide myself in them, wrap myself in them like a traditional thief might.
Okay. Yes. As you are practicing your movements, no check needed on this one, and you see that you're sort of like trailing your hands like little After Effects, when you move your body and watch the after effect of your core, you can see that it's not just like after image of Grimes. You can see that there is some sort of tangled knot within you. It looks like like if you've seen a kitten play with a ball of string and it gets all knotted and messy, but instead of being string, it's like thick rope. There is some sort of tangled mess of thick ropes in your core, and you can see it when you move because it trails along with your afterimage.
Interesting. So Grimes will tumble around from shadow to shadow, seeing if I can shake this. If it's possible to leave it behind, like untangle myself or like shake the shadow loose. I don't know that I expect it to be that easy, but
this is where I would like
play
that,
with this and
that willpower check now, or wisdom check in this situation.
There's the pass. So maybe getting advantage for being slightly phased.
As you get a better understanding of this, you see that the rope is more tied around you, not necessarily within you. Or maybe it's like tied to your spine or your organs on the inside. It's knotted about you. It's attached to you.
Well, this seems fun. If this were a video game, there'd be some really cool visuals to Grimes' movement with like shadow Grimes wisping behind him.
That's where the whole budget of the game would have been in. Gameplay would be bad, but
exactly. But the visuals would be really cool.
Be so good.
Like the physics would be shitty. I'd be like bumping into walls, and there'd be weird clipping, but there'd be this really cool visual effect to it all. Yeah. Is there anything to the merging with shadows, hiding with shadows, jumping into shadows, cloaking in shadows, embracing the shadow? So you can make this a longer term thing, but
yeah.
I don't know if we want to tease anything or if you're just going to shut those ideas down.
So you will, how do we say? The lighting in this plane is dim lighting. It's bad, right? It's where your night vision and your day vision are working against each other. And I think you begin to get a bit of a grip for these options. And the thoughts of like, well, all you really need is like just a little bit of cover, and the bad lighting is going to hide most of the details. And I think you are on your path to being able to hide in shadows more efficiently than before. You can definitely feel or see the way that it confuses vision and movement.
All right. I think we'll keep an eye on this progression, the descent into shadow as the campaign goes on. But
you guys can continue on your path the next day.
So we don't recover HP for that day, right?
Right, because you had combat.
Okay, yeah. I say to Grimes that there's probably a city on the edge of the canal somewhere that might have a crossing, so looks like the fork's pointing slightly more this way than that way, so I say we head to the right.
Lead away.
Alright, I lead us along the edge of the cliff. Okay. Hope to find a city.
Grimes tightrope walks along the edge of the cliff, looking down over it, contemplating climbing it. How does the cliff face look?
Rough.
Are there handholds,
jagged.
or is it like weirdly is it like Minecraft blocks?
No, there are plenty of handholds. You could climb this. You could probably free climb the whole thing, but it is like 850 feet, so I'd probably ask for multiple checks instead of just one. Yeah. And any one
I'm not
slip
planning
up
on it, but
results in death, but you could probably get away with it, you know?
Entertaining the possibilities.
Might do like a climbing check every 100 feet. The other side of the canal?
The island on the other side, is that also 800 feet in the air, or is that down on sea level?
No, the other side of the canal is only like 250 feet or something.
Okay, well, alright then, fine. So we keep going up.
Alright. By the end of the day, you break out of the woods and are back into a much, much thinner wood. There's not quite, like, it's not a hard line, but it's a period of a half mile or a quarter mile where all of a sudden the woods thin dramatically. And now it's just a gentle, light forest that you walk through. Gray and featureless, but gentle nonetheless.
How does the water look? Does it look rough?
No.
Okay. Like it might be safe to cross it on a small boat.
Sure. Yeah.
Great.
Totally.
Okay, we keep going.
Okay. You go. You can head north. You break out of the forest into the thinner forest, and it's probably at this point that you take another day rest. Everyone can gain an HP.
Nice.
And the next day you continue.
Oh,
You come across this site.
Oh.
Except you're not down here, you're on the top. You find a river valley. And the river valley is ending in a huge waterfall that plummets like 350, 400 feet down into the Grand Canal. You're standing atop it, and you see it just runs north from here. And then there's like, big waterfall where it meets the canal. You can see that these walls are climbable, but difficult to climb.
Well, we can't climb down. I still think there should be a city somewhere. Unless we're right at the top and there's no more cities. No, because then we'd be looking at the ocean. So it's probably just where the river that forms the...
So is this the canal that we're looking at, or is this a canyon that leads into the canal?
A canyon that leads into the canal.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think we keep
so
following
to
the edge.
follow the edge, you would have to go down this canyon, across this river, up the other side if you wanted to keep walking along the canal. Otherwise, you'd be walking along the side of this river valley.
Yeah, so I think we walk along the side of the river valley instead then.
Okay. Yeah. You follow
It's
it
kind
for...
of one and the same thing, isn't it?
Sure, but like it's a matter of scale, right? If there's like a tributary to the Grand Canyon, you wouldn't say it's necessarily part of the Grand Canyon if it's, 1/1000th the scale, right?
Okay, yeah. No, I think we follow it around.
Oh, yeah. By the end of the day, you find a switchback path that leads down the cliffside here to a small bridge that crosses the river, and you see a few huts on the other side of the bridge, on the other side of the river.
All right, let's go. We climb down the switchback. I'm a little confused, but
Yeah. I'm not sure where we are, but I don't think Grimes is either, so...
You are wandering through the wilderness, hoping that you will find the right place to be.
Where does that tuning fork show? Where does the
okay. So
Yeah.
I take it out. It probably points back
Across the
across
river.
and a bit down now a little bit, right? Probably.
It points like basically due across the river, straight across.
All right, yeah. Let's cross the river then. We follow down the switchback,
Yeah.
cross the bridge, and check out these huts.
Yep, the huts are as abandoned as everything else. There are like 8 of them. They're all identical. Their doors face it, not all different directions, but 2 of them will face in towards each other. So they're not like pasted, but they're still like a little village. Similar construction. No one here. No signposts. Just a dirt path that travels through it, and then up a switchback on the other side, which you can follow and continue.
Yes.
And maybe a few hours after you reach the top of the cliffs, as you're getting tired, you see a city come into view.
This is it, Grimes.
is there a wall, a castle?
There is yep. And you pass through farmlands. You pass countless small villages, things too small to even be considered a village. It's more of like a collection of houses with fields around them.
And I assume all of these are just shadows of villages, shadows of farms. They don't have enough details to be worth investigating or looting or...
Yeah, you'll poke your head in and you'll see they're all more or less empty, abandoned. There'll be beds, maybe a couple of cups, but like nothing really in them. Nothing really there. The fields are either fallow or they just have like tall stalks in them, like generic plant stalks that don't really matter.
How big is this city?
It's quite large. The very
Bigger
large
than
wall
the
around
one we
it.
were in before?
It's probably on par with Wicthron Marenta, the capital of Drekis.
Okay, so this is probably either Stromheim, which is the capital of Eridon, or I'm sure there's another big city in Eridon somewhere. Stromheim's not on the canal, so I think trying to remember what the name of the city is as we wander towards the wall.
Right. I think before you get to the wall, you get tired. You could probably sleep here if you wanted, or you could press on and ignore your exhaustion.
Let's find a bed, right?
Yeah.
Why not?
Let's rest inside the castle.
As we pass through the gate, I say, "High Castle." That's it, Grimes. That's the name of the city. High Castle.
It is awfully high.
Yeah.
Nothing like with Thornrenta.
I look around it. No, but it is impressive in its own way. I think this used to be the capital of Eridon once upon a time, but I'm not exactly sure.
Okay.
But there should be a dock here, perhaps a way to cross the canal.
Is there a bridge?
I don't think so.
You get to the walls, but the doors are shut.
How high are the walls?
30 feet? 40 feet, maybe? Pretty well maintained. Be a tough climb for anybody in the world.
Grimes, stand back.
Yeah.
I'm
confident that I've climbed castle walls before, but we've got an 18-100 strength fighter. Might as well just punch the door down.
I draw my flame blade.
I stand back and
carve a path through the door.
Your sword of flame will hit the door, but it's not gonna hack into it, right? Because the sword is just fire, so it'll bathe the door in flames, but it's not going to cut into the door.
Okay.
Is there a portcullis?
It looks like the portcullis is presently raised.
So there's
just the big
door?
double wooden doors braced with brass or bronze or copper or steel. Who can tell in this desaturated world?
I'd take a few steps back. I'd levy my shield in front of me and take a running charge of this door. What am I rolling?
Battering ram.
Just roll a d20, and you want to roll low. Real low.
You sure you don't want an open doors check?
Yeah, that's a d20.
That's a d20.
It's a d20. What does it mean? There's a number and then another number in brackets. What's that mean?
You've got to roll the in brackets is for magically held or something like that.
The number of parentheses is to open locked, barred, or magically held doors, but only one attempt per door can ever be made. If it fails, no further attempts by that character can succeed. And I'm going to say this is not just a door. This is a castle door. So I'm going to use the number in brackets as the one that you need here. Because
you better hope so. Otherwise, I need a 16. So.
Right, because otherwise you can't just bash down.
An 8?
Ah, fuck. Doesn't work.
No, you need a 5 or something. You can't bash down castle gates, William. You're strong, but it's going to take, it takes many men and a battering ram to break down a castle gate. You can't do it with just
No ordinary man. I give Grimes my harpoon with the rope attached to it.
Got a harpoon with the rope? Okay.
Yeah.
Alright, I tie...
Sorry. The Taskmaster's whip is tied to the bottom of it, so it's actually probably about 30 feet.
Oh. I tie it to my back and begin to free climb the castle walls. Maybe some penalty for this awkward pole arm on my back.
Yeah. So a castle wall will have a modifier of 12 on your climb check. Penalty of 12.
Minus 12, really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
I redid some of the climbing stuff to make it a little bit more sensible.
Bad. 12, I cannot. With a minus 12, I can't climb a castle wall.
Oh,
when you roll a 4, yeah.
Bonus. Yeah.
Oh, so close. Hold on, let's see. There are some bonuses here that I wasn't including. There's no inward slope. You don't have spiked boots. Oh, hey, never mind. There are no bonuses for you at this point. Yeah, so finally, a wall designed not to be climbed is the first wall that stops Grimes.
So I guess I look at Grimes.
These bricks are strange. There's no handholds. It's like the
hell, Grimes.
It's like it wasn't made. It's like it wasn't made by a man. It was stamped here by a Photoshop brush, and the gods are too lazy to get the textures right.
Stop messing around, Krabs, and climb the wall.
I don't know if I can. We can look for an easier point.
What?
Or perhaps I walk over to the gate.
I've watched you climb mountains. You telling me you can't climb this wall?
I hush William and then suddenly look surprised at myself and oh God, I just hushed my captain. I'll be sent to the brig for this. I'm sorry, but let me concentrate for a moment. You can look for an easier place to climb.
Okay.
I'm going to have a look at this. And I would like to inspect the gate and see if there's a way to wriggle a blade or something between it to lift the bar or something. In essence, I'd like to pick the castle, pick the gate, unlock it
want to
from
pick
the
the
outside.
gate. Okay.
If there's a sally port, actually, that might be even easier. But I'll start.
Have you used pick locks the entire time of Grimes' existence? Is this the first
there
one?
were some locks in the
no.
Frozen Frontiers. There were some vaults.
Okay, good.
I think actually Neal did a pretty good. I mean, it was used 3 times in the entire campaign, but it was enough to make me dump points into it. Yeah, there were some pretty intricate vaults that was oh, I don't have enough lock picking to do this now, but we'll go adventure for a while and come back in a few levels.
All right.
Yeah. So the castle door, the main door is barred from the back. You're probably not going to be able to pick it, but your thoughts about a sally port are spot on because every castle has some sort of tiny side door that you can slip out of, but is so defensible that it would be impossible to actually assault. Every castle just about has one of these little side doors somewhere. Sometimes they're hidden, sometimes they're in plain view, but in a difficult to access spot. They're almost always pretty far away from the main gate. So if you want to take some time to circle the castle and look for a sally port, you can do so.
Yeah, I assume wouldn't there be one right next to the main gate? Isn't there usually so you don't have to open the gate if just one person wants to walk in or out? Is there not usually just a human-sized door?
Oh. Ooh, is that a real thing? That sounds
I don't know.
plausible.
Maybe not.
I think
I thought that was
this
a real
one,
thing because I've seen you do it before, Neal.
But if it comes to that, I'll
directly
walk
next
around.
to the main gate,
or even built into the gate. I don't know,
like a door within the gate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or to the side of it, if there's a guardhouse or something with a door that. I don't know.
Let's
You
just
tell
roll.
me.
Let's
It's
find
your
out.
castle.
Yeah. See here. Ooh, a 5 on the die. No, it's not here. It'll have to be a sally port somewhere on the side. But we're just
All right,
talking
well, I'm
about
walking around anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. I probably go the other direction from William, and we divide and scope the walls to see if there's another way in.
Sure. You will find that the first sally port is on the west side of the wall, maybe a quarter mile around the castle wall. You'll find an area where there does a little bit of an inlet. It'll go horizontal and then down or in and then back up and out again. So just a little cove. And in this little cove, there is a single door, ordinary looking door, banded with metal, over and over and over and over again, with a standard lock.
Is this the castle wall, or is this surrounding the whole city?
Surrounding the city.
Okay.
Okay, I think that's you, Grimes, because in my head I was going the other way around.
Okay, sure. I will attempt then to pick it before calling for William.
What is your pick locks check?
So my lockpick skill is 21. I do not think I have my lockpicks anymore. Let me see.
Oh.
I do not have any tools. They were sucked into the void or something like that.
Oh, okay.
I have knives of varying sizes, but that's the best I'm going to come up with.
I think
some
your
wands.
knives
I've got
probably
arrows
won't
and
work,
bolts.
but you could carve an arrow into some tools. It'll just take you a longer time to improvise a set of lockpicks out of wood.
It's a magic arrow. Hold on. I mean, I guess I could use that, but
I suppose you could find some other plant life nearby and a bush and carve that into a set of picks for you. It'll take probably an hour or so to get the right picks that you need for this lock.
Okay.
You don't have carpentry or bowery or fletchery, do you?
No, I have rope use.
Yeah, then it'll take you a while
No.
to do it.
Okay, so
to
whilst he's
carve
carving
tools.
then, I'm walking back around the whole thing until I presumably run into him. So do I find any easier places on the wall to climb?
No, not at all.
Okay, so
You'll
I
go
walk around for like
one
a couple of
side
hours.
until you hit the cliff, and it's just like the wall
Oh.
goes to the edge of the cliff, and it just plummets, and then you go back the other way until you find Grimes.
Grimes, these walls look pretty solid all the way around. Oh,
Yeah,
hey,
I
door.
think you circle around to find Grimes like sitting cross-legged in front of the door, whittling at some wood.
Okay, I levy my shield now while he's whistling. his
Yeah,
wood.
it's locked. I don't know what the locks are like in here. Hopefully they actually function.
I smash it open.
The door. Oh my god, you rolled a 3.
I mean, this isn't a castle. This is an easy
It's
door.
barred,
needed
but I think a 3 will probably do it.
Yeah,
I
this
needed
is
a
like
6.
a
Easy.
heavily barred with metal and wood. And you roll a 3. Jesus Christ, you have 18 dash what strength?
100.
Okay, you bash down the door.
Good. All right, Grimes, let's go. What are you doing down there, by the way?
Grimes stands up and nothing. I'm taking a breather. I leave like a discarded pile of wood
Sticks.
chips behind me and sticks and follow in after William.
Sorry, Brian.
That's fine.
You enter the city. There are stone buildings everywhere. Some of them look like they're made out of stone bricks. Mud bricks. Some of them are made out of stones. There are a few wooden buildings scattered throughout here. Most of the buildings are multiple stories tall. You'll find the ground paved with cobblestones. You'll see little gutters in the sides of the roads. But otherwise, like all the other places you've been, it is abandoned, a shadow of its former self or of its real self. Nothing of value to be found here. No gold, no silver, no gems, no tools, really.
This isn't Drekis, right? I say to William.
No, this is Eridon. But look, I'm getting tired. Why don't we...
So it wouldn't be treasonous if I were to sleep in the Queen's bed.
I guess not, but do you want to have to break down another door? Might be easy just to go into one of these houses here.
I'd rather stay in the castle.
So be it. Let's walk. I mean, we can see the castle, I assume, Neal.
Absolutely.
Alright, I yawn along the way. Do we go past any taverns?
Yeah, absolutely. You'll pass many taverns.
Let's take a pit stop in a tavern and see if we can find any shadow beer.
Let's do it.
You walk into a tavern and you find barrels and barrels and barrels on the backside.
Grimes
There's no
excitedly
writing on
rushes
them.
towards them and finds them empty.
Yes. You know
Fuck.
me so well.
This plain as a tease.
Should have known better.
Neal, if I see any rope, I'm picking it up, alright? I feel like there's rope somewhere. Why wouldn't there be rope? You said there's barrels, why not rope?
Right? Yeah, there should be rope here. God
Even if it's
damn it,
shadow
where's the
rope.
rope?
Even if it's shadow rope, I'm a shadow assassin, so I should be able to use it, right?
Exactly, you can use shadow rope, yeah. Once we break into a tavern, I say, Grimes, you sure you don't want to just sleep in the beds in here?
We can just rest in the tavern.
I dream of beer.
And as the party beds down to sleep in one of these taverns, something lurks in the streets outside.
No.
Party is unaware of it yet, but it comes for them. Why don't we find out what this thing may be on the other side of our break? See you guys soon.